Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's Mubarak Ali Khan. I hope all of you are enjoying good health. Respected viewers, today I need to talk about another topic, and the topic is narrative and descriptive essays. In this topic, I'll talk about the essential elements of narrative and descriptive essay, as well as I'll talk about good examples of that. I'll talk about some pyramid into that how the things should actually go. If you guys have any question, you can leave in the comment box, as well as once we'll be on the Zoom session or somewhere, we can discuss that in detail too. So without wasting any time, I'm going to share my data with you, and let's see that how it helps you all. All right, here you go. So Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Table of contents should be that introduction to essay and it types. I'll start from the very basic level, that what is essay basically, how it functions, how it works, as well as we'll talk about narrative essays, we'll talk about descriptive essays, and we'll talk about difference between the both. And the fourth point, basically, this is the most essential one, because if we don't know the difference between the both, then we keep writing endlessly without taking any output from there. So this is the most important thing which you have to do. And please, you need to watch this video till the end so that you could come to know about the real difference between the both. So what is an essay? Generally speaking, Oxford Dictionary says that it's a literary composition, usually a prose or in a short story maybe, or and that is supposed to be on any subject, can be any subject. And you see that Francis Bacon was one of the pioneers of essays, who used to write essays starting with the preposition of youth and age, of love and war, and such kind of essays he wrote. Now, properly speaking, it is a written composition giving expression to one's own personal ideas or opinions on some topic. So, but the term usually covers also written composition, whether it expresses personal opinion or gives information on any given subject or details of a narrative or descriptive. So it may include your personal opinions as well. It may include your descriptions as well, but it can be on the facts and opinions as well. So this is what we call basically an essay. And essay, you see, normally students ask that what should be the length of an essay. So a good essay is consisted upon at least four paragraphs, at least four paragraphs. And now if the question arises that what should be the length of a paragraph, so one paragraph should be of at least 5 sentences, topic sentence, then you have 3 supporting sentences, and then you have a concluding sentence. So based upon that, you make it like this. Otherwise, if time allows, if you have an assignment and it says, and it goes with the words, nowadays assignments go with the word as well, right? Write an essay of 250 words, write an essay of 500 words. So there we don't count the body paragraph as that. For example, the first introductory paragraph, and then we can keep adding the body paragraphs depending upon the content which we have, as well as depending upon the points which we need to inculcate into our writing. So classification of essays can be reflective, narrative, descriptive, expository, and imaginative. But precisely, we'll talk about narrative essays and descriptive essays. So in this, well, these kids are saying it's cool. We'll help you, right? So there is no problem at all. Just feel free, and wherever you feel like that the slide is important, so you need to pause it, and you can take your notes as well, and then you can reach me in the comment section as well. So narrative essay, it's going to be quite plain, quite simple. Let's do it. Narrative essay. First, you got your definition, then types, then how to write, then key element, then example. Definition. A narrative essay consists mainly the narrations of some event or series of events. So I say mainly because a narrative essay must not be confused with a short story or bits of story. So there is a difference between narrative essay and a short story, but somehow we confuse that. So we'll explore it today. The narrative it relates should be treated as a subject for thought and comment. So essay should be more or less reflective. Narrative essay may treat of what can narrative essay encompass: historical stories or legends. For example, maybe reign of Babur. Nowadays, Artugul Ghazi is so common. So such kind of things you see. So these are narratives, but can be single person narrative, can be third person narrative as well. So This is what we need to identify. There can be biographies as well, Life of Pi, or it can be a biopic of Sanjay Dutt, or again this Artugal, because it is so much into the talk nowadays. And incidents or disasters, maybe Titanic, maybe 9/11. So such kind of things can encompass into that. Types of narrative essay. First, descriptive narrative. Don't confuse descriptive essays with descriptive narrative. It communicates the time and place, tone and mood. It talks about that. Back in 2011, 9th November, there was an attack, something like that. And the viewpoint narrative, narrative filters events in a character's eyes. For example, someone is looking into a narrative. You see, if there is one event going on and there are many people looking into that event, every person will have its own agenda and kind of its own say about that. There can be one basic plot which can be same, otherwise they will tell it differently, because the way they have seen that, they will go accordingly. So that is viewpoint narrative. Then you have historical narrative as well. It shows a series of past events, causes and effects. And then linear narrative, it presents event in the order they occurred. Can be any order, can be a spatial order, can be an order of importance, can be ascending or descending order, depending upon that. And then non-linear narrative, it presents even randomly or out of series, but that is also with purpose. It is not that they are not planning it, you have to plan it. But if you are giving it a kind of non-linear narrative, then you are showing the actions which were basically non-linear, which were not in order. So you chose this kind of style to tell, to explain the plot basically. All right, so Pretty Zenta is somewhere confused at what's going on exactly. So no need to get into trouble at all. It's quite simple. We'll do it, inshallah. Let's move on further. So how to write a narrative essay? From here the real lesson starts. How to write a narrative essay. It's a little blurry, but you can pause it and you can see it later. So introduction, first of all, one paragraph you have to write which says, well, on the top you have a hooker, or it also known as a driver, it's also known as a topic sentence. So you have it in the first paragraph, hook and background information you give into that, and then specific moment that makes your essay matter. And then thesis, you give your thesis statement that this paragraph or this essay is going to talk about. You actually kind of give your stance into this. You give your position. For example, there's a topic, the car is 20th century disastrous 20th century invention, comment. So then you are going to talk about your own stance, and then with the help of your data you are going to talk about. Anyhow, then you have body paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. The body paragraph include the point that led you to the conflict. For example, no, it's true. No, it's not true. Whichsoever you have to talk about, whichsoever two things you have to collide with. And then the actual moment, the climax of your story, write about tension, anxiety, or other feelings you experienced. Compare them with some universal idea, so your reader would understand you. For example, you put some kind of kind of connection with that. You actually you actually put some dexes into that, sometimes some date, someone else who suffered. So for like that, you actually put the real scenario. And then the conclusion, restate the thesis and major points of your essays back to lessons learned. Normally the first introductory paragraph is somehow rephrased and then conclusion is given, but your personal line can be added into that, your suggestions can be added into that later on. This is what actually we need to learn. It is actually about that what are these 5 elements which should be there. It should, these points should be there in every kind of you see essay. So what should be exactly narrative essay? Number one, you got a plot over there. So what is the plot, by the way? Excuse me. It's the event happening in your essay or story. For example, you write about how you learned swimming and describe what you did, how it influenced you, how it influenced your mood and swimming skills. So it is the basic plot. So this is basically you have to revolve around. You cannot go out of this box. You have to maintain the content within this box. It means that the plot, for example, अगर आप घर बना रहे हो और आपके पास एक plot है, तो उस प्लॉट से बाहर जाकर आप कब्जा तो नहीं करेंगे ना, आप अपने प्लॉट में रहकर अपनी कंस्ट्रक्शन करेंगे बिल्डिंग की, तो प्लॉट यही रहता है. इट्स सेम. So you got a plot now you will fill it with your words, with your contents. Then you get a setting. So what is setting? It's when and where the event happened. In other words, it's location and time. For example, you learn swimming in pool of your local school in the winter of 2013, can be this. And then you go to character. It's a protagonist who drives a plot of your story. Okay, there are two people. There are two kind of major characters: protagonist and antagonist. Protagonist is basically hero. Antagonist is the villain who drives the plot of your story. Also, there can be supporting characters. Those are the protagonist of your essay about swimming, and the supporting characters are your friends. May, for example, May and Jerry, who went to the pool with you. Maybe Ali and Hassan, who went to the pool with you. And then there should be a conflict if necessarily can be put properly. It's a problem the character resolves, a moment of tension he needs to win through. In our example, the conflict was the challenge for you to swim with legs and arms together, for example. So it was there, like you were saying, it was so tough for me. So people become more interested once there is a conflict. Okay, moving on. Then you get to know about the theme. It's the moral of a story. What have you learned? What do you want the readers to understand? Back to the example with the essay about swimming, you have learned to swim. You want to encourage readers to learn new things, be brave and not afraid of challenges. So this was the theme basically. So that's how your narrative essay basically goes. And basically Freytag's pyramid, there is a pyramid which was presented by a linguist, Freytag. And Freytag says that first of all, there is exposition. You expose that what is going to be in this essay, the characters and the kind of background. Then you tell about the rising action. Can be any flaw over there. Can be any problem over there. Can be any accident over there. Can be like the things were going smooth and all of nowhere they had to cut short. They had to stop. Then you go to the climax, and after the climax, like this is the real time in which it should be nail biting time. It should be a time like in which people are so interested to read to you. And then there's a falling action. You go smooth, you see, it's like a bell curve. You go up and then you go down slowly, and then the falling action and then resolution. Then you resolve the problems whatsoever were there. So this is how narrative arc of Freytag's pyramid works. And then there is explanation of that. On the down note, you could see exposition. The same picture is here, but then we will get to know about it in detail. I'm not reading it for you. You may read it for yourself. Moving on to rising action. It's a moment when conflict appears, a trigger that creates tension and makes the readers understand what your story is about. For example, Cinderella gets invited to the ball, makes cloths, and then climax. It's the main event of your story, the height of tension. When the protagonist faces the truth, needs to make a choice. For example, in Cinderella, goes to the ball, meets a prince. So that's how it goes. Then a falling action. Actually, I'm going up onto that. I'm trying to explain everything to you, so you may bear with me for next almost 15 minutes. Falling action is the result of that choice, the moment of conflict resolution. Maybe Cinderella, time to go back to the awful life, but with the new experience. And then resolution. It's the conclusion of your story with a moral or point of view wanted to share. Cinderella, the prince finds her, they live happily. So such kind of event. I have given you quite basic example over here. So definitely our examples will differ from each other. Oops, it's, I think myself, I'm hiding it. I'm coming here for you now. Okay, so example of a narrative essay. You see, it's a title. It has a title. It has an introduction, beginning of the story, middle events, end of the story, and conclusion. You can read it for yourself as well, and then definitely, if you feel like, you can pause the video over here, read it silently, understand it well, and learn that how to make pepperoni pizza, so that you come to know actually that the real example of narrative essays. Now coming to the descriptive essays, on the other hand, descriptive essays have their own kind of traits and their own tidbits which we need to discuss. So let's discuss these in detail as well. Meanwhile, if you're getting bored somewhere here, you may pause the video, go out, have some fresh water if you're not fasting, and then come back and then come to descriptive essay, right? So we need to learn by all means. No matters this pandemic situation is here, every problem can be there. So no problem at all. It's okay. This is how life goes on nowadays. Okay. So descriptive essay. We'll talk about the same. You will find it on the same model, the way it was, the narrative essay was made: definition, types, how to write, key elements, and examples. By the way, examples of descriptive and narrative I have put in the end as well. There's going to be one small paragraph, so you will learn how to exactly write it. So a definition of that. Basically, it is the most expressive form of an essay. This type of writing is used to describe and explain an event, a place, a person, or anything that is part of the main topic in detail. Descriptive essay may treat of, for example, in the previously narrative essay, we also talked about that what it may treat. So here we also come to know that what it treats. Number one can be animals, plants, minerals. Maybe the pipal tree can be example. Towns, countries, buildings. For example, the Taj Mahal. Aspects and natural phenomena, moon, sun, or sunlight, and manufactured articles. For example, motor cars, silk, paper. So that's how it should go. Writing about there are three major forms of descriptive writing: writing about a person, writing about an object, and writing about a place, as we got to know the examples down here. So other types include writing about oneself, writing about others, writing about poems, writing about traveling, memory or experience, writing about nature. So these are the different types of descriptive essay. Now, how to write a descriptive essay? You see, this is basically a sketch outline that what should be there exactly, how it should work. For example, in the introduction, now you see you need to use similes and descriptive adjectives to describe your person physically. For example, you see, if I say that Mira speaks English very well, so such kind of ironies you have to put. Or maybe my son is as brave as a lion, or my son is like a son in my life. Such kind of examples you're putting similes, you're putting metaphors, you're explaining the things in a very proper way. Okay. And then you see, you can go through it by yourself. Lead sentence to hook your reader first, your topic sentence will be there. Then in the top, I'm reading that, for example, point A. This point A is thesis statement, and then should be physical appearance, and should be details, and can be second physical attribute and detail as well. You will get to know about the characteristics too, hobbies, and sensory detail too. So you need to put in detail. I'll be giving you one of the topics in the end so that you could put it later as your assignment, and you may send me at mubarakali541@gmail.com, so that I could understand that how have you actually learned. Now again, the same thing, key elements of descriptive essays, that what exactly elements, what elements should be there in your descriptive essay. Number one, it should have sensory details. Let's learn it. Good description or writing includes many vivid sensory details that paint a picture and appeals to all the reader's senses of sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. For example, you are talking to a blind person and you are showing him a great scene, a beautiful ambience. So through your words you have to paint a picture into the mind. This is description. Or maybe you are onto the top of one of the mountains, so somewhere is down here, and he cannot or she cannot see behind the mountains, so that from here on the top you are letting this person know that what exactly going on there. So this person understands what's going on. This is description, and he or she actually gets a sketch into the mind. Then figurative language should be there. Often makes use of figurative language to help paint the picture inside reader's mind. For example, her smile was like sunshine. Here we use simile, a basic one. And then dominant impression should be there. Your goal is to create a single dominant impression on your reader, a central theme or idea to which all the details relate. For example, the liveliness of a street scene, that can be done as well. This is one of the examples of dominant impression. The liveliness of a street scene. For example, you're thinking about it. Maybe you're onto your terrace. Down there is street and there are kids playing. So such kind of impression. You see, a descriptive writer is one who makes ordinary into extraordinary and presents in a way that people understand that really it should have been done in this way. Okay, then go on to the precise language. Using specific words and phrases will help the reader see what you are describing. The opposite of specific language is a language that is vague, fuzzy, or general. Don't give vague language. Someone was there, something he was doing, and no one was looking at him, and at the end nothing happened. For example, someone, no one, nothing, such kind of, you see that pronouns you are putting, and then in the end you're getting nothing out of whatsoever you wrote. So that matters a lot, that you should have a precise language and organize your ideas. Some ways to organize your descriptive essays are logical time, maybe spatial location, and order importance shown below. Spatial order can be uses locations such as top to bottom, front to back, and left to right. Best of describing a place. Order of importance puts the most important details at the beginning or at the end. Best for describing objects and people. Chronological order arranges detail in time order, best to describe events. So that's how it goes. Now here you see how does it taste. This is one of the topic. What does this look like? This is your part of assignment as well. You have to write almost 150 to 200 words describing this as well. So example, it's an apple tree, let's say. Normally apple tree is not this much, you know, huge. I haven't seen the one, but you see, since it's a picture, so we are trying to, you know, put kind of imitation of an imitation. So it is almost, you know, removed from reality, but still we need to explain it. So how does it taste? How does it smell? What's this? How does it feel? So everything you need to explain here. And then things to include in a descriptive essay. Again, I think I am the problem here. Let me put myself to the other corner. So things to include in the descriptive essay: sensory details. You see, what you hear, see, smell, touch, taste, that is there. Subject is like this. Descriptive words can be there, you know, specific adjectives, adverbs, for example, be, look, see, verb. No vague formulation, please. Your impressions, feelings, memories, association, figure of speech, similes, metaphors, and symbols, etc. Coming back here, now we will learn about the difference between both. Difference between narrative essay and descriptive essay. So here you go with that what's the major difference between the both. On the left hand side, my left hand side, maybe your right hand side later on, a descriptive description and descriptive essays, the key features are there, and then on the right hand, narration is there. I'll read one by one. You see, descriptive essay relies upon sense details, sights, sounds, smells, taste, touch, tactical impressions. On the other hand, narration relies upon story elements, plot, characterization, theme, setting. This is one of the most important, you see that slide which I have. So please pay good attention over here. Then description basically deals with figurative language, similes and metaphors. And narration basically deals with sense details. Figurative language is there, but not that extent. Diction, for example, good vocabulary is there, and dominant impression related to the theme. We give the dominant impression over there. And then it comes to dominant impression here in description, that the atmosphere, setting, unifying impression or controlling aspect, link all of your sense details. The first adjective that comes to mind when you think about a particular place, object, person, or event. Over here, narration deals with the moral. There's a message, there's a point, there is a meaning, there is a theme. And in the end, narrative deals with the chronological order by time, beginning, middle, and linear progression. No flashbacks, no circling, no juxtaposition. So you don't, you know, juxtapose, you don't mix the things. You actually go in smooth way. As compared to the other hand, it goes spatially. You, for example, by space, as opposed to chronologically, reason, logic, or emphasis. Left to right or right to left it goes. Top to bottom or bottom to top it goes. So sometimes, you know, the description one deals in a different way. For example, a flashback. I remember I touched him in a way that my mother touched me for the very first time, and she held me on her chest without letting me sleep. She lullified me, and such kind of things, you see, that goes so in deep detail. Anyhow, so over here, difference between narrative and descriptive essay. On the top left, you will find descriptive essay. On the top right bottom, you will find narrative essay. Let's see, descriptive essays have purpose, point of view, literary elements, time of factors, and there are some examples on that. Point of view can be third person and first person. Purpose, the way we have description, describe, place, person, thing, feeling. Literary elements not used over here. Time factors not accounted over here. And then topics, for example, my best friend, my favorite place, my pet, my family. Such basic topics, you see, we are talking about. And then coming to narrative essay, there is a purpose. Okay, so it narrates incident, experiences. It has a point of view, and it's always in first person. Literary elements are there, for example, plot, setting, character, dialogue. And then time of factor is there, chronological or logical. And then topics are there. For example, you see, in narrative essays, sometimes we have a character which is not actually a character, but which gives the actually background. We call that person or that character omniscient narrator. That omniscient narrator basically tells about the theme, the background. Anyhow, an unforgettable day can be a topic, an experience that changed can be a topic, a day at the beach can be a topic, my first day at school can be a topic. So tips for writing narrative essays: start with some thought-provoking info to hook readers, a question, a definition, a quote, a fact. You see, people are not interested to read, you will make them interested to read. Write from the first person. You see, a third person is okay too. State a point. What do you want to say by your essay? Follow the format. Include all components of a good story to your narrative essay, which I have mentioned previously. And then if you go on, make sure your story has a conflict. There must be a conflict. The bigger the conflict is, you see, more readings will be there. Describe events in logical order. You need to, describe some events. Use clear and descriptive language. For example, power words, transitional words, or short sentences. So tips for writing a great descriptive essay now. Have a thesis statement on the top. It is crucial that you identify the topic that you will be writing on and cite the subject matters. Keep it precise and simple. Do not make it difficult for your reader to comprehend the points that you are communicating, and employ the use of literal tools such as metaphors, similes, descriptive adjectives, idioms, and personification. Evenly distribute the vital information throughout the essay, and do not offer your personal opinion or recommendations in the first paragraph. It should come out as a recommendation towards the conclusion of the descriptive essay. So last two slides, okay, just 2-3 more minutes with me. So example of narrative essay can be: I looked down, then watching the waves, every bolt was answered by a moment of spreading light on the surface. The waves were getting rough, rising high and crashing hard enough that I could hear them. You see, it is in detail. One point is kind of, everything is put over here. Then you go on to that into descriptive writing. It was my second day on the job. I was sitting in my seemingly gilded cubicle overlooking Manhattan and pinching my right arm to make sure it was real. I landed an internship and at Condé Nast Traveler. Don't you think there is some problem? Because you see, if you could be annoyed कि यार ये, so it should not have gone like this. You see, यहाँ पर तो personal information, और I'm giving example of descriptive, और दूसरी तरफ personal information नहीं है, वहाँ पर description है, and I have given the title. So title should be switched in this way basically. If there was a scratch in you, that it should not have been done like this, so so you have learned. But if there is no scratch in you and you were so easy with the way I was going, so it means you haven't learned. Go to the concepts again and just change the titles. Descriptive writing is not the example. This is not the example of descriptive writing. It is the example of narrative writing. And the previous slide is example of descriptive writing. Exactly. Switch them and stay active while coming to me again, inshallah. I'll see you back. Thank you so very much for your time. The way simply thank you is written over here. This is how this simple the concept was. Okay, so good luck with your upcoming exams and all. If I could make any change, if I could help you out somewhere, so thank you so very much for coming here. And inshallah, next time I need to talk about some other types of essays as well. And up till then, I would like to take your leave. Thank you so very much. This is Mubarak Ali Khan. I'll see you inshallah next time. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.